What is going on YouTube? Welcome back to another video, and in today's video I'm going to try and go over the Pixar theory. Now the Pixar theory is basically this: all of the movies within Pixar are connected in one giant universe. And how that universe works is definitely different from ours. Or starts out with Elemental and it ends with Monsters Inc. or Brave, depending on how you look at it. Time travel is a big important part of this, and it's kind of like all looped back into one another. So I'm going to start a three-part video series where I just go over the Pixar theory. So we're going to start this video with prehistory. So this is going to go from Elemental up to Brave. And if you guys want to see modern times and then future times, join me in these next two videos coming out within the following weeks. So the Pixar timeline basically looks like this. As I said, it starts with Elemental at the top and then it works down to Brave, but that's where we get into our time loop. So what I mean by this time loop is certain events kind of loop back around. And what you guys need to know about the Pixar theory is there's three major players that come along in this whole theory: humans, technology, and animals. And throughout this whole thing, we're going to explore how all of them have interacted, each one taking dominance over the other at certain points. So the first bit of events that happen within the Pixar timeline is actually in the show Elemental. Now, in Elemental, we actually see the basic elements coming together. So the basic elements within the Pixar universe are earth, wind, water, and fire. Now, all of these kind of incorporate other things, like fire can create glass, earth can involve the trees and the land and things. Air is essentially all things to do with that, and water can do everything that you would think water can do. But now what we see in Elemental is the elements coming together. So with the elements coming together, in particular in Elemental, the water and fire element, is they come together and they actually can create a new element through their shared love of one another in the movie. Now, this brings us the building blocks of the rest of the Pixar universe. This is the creation of this universe we are seeing played out through this story. And with them all finally coming together, it's what it allows this world to expand into this great universe that we're actually going to finish going over. But now, the next thing we see going into the Pixar timeline is actually the prehistory in the Good Dinosaur. Now, the one defining thing that happens in the Good Dinosaur that separates the Pixar world from our world after Elemental is the asteroid that would normally have taken out the dinosaurs. It just straight up misses. So we don't really see what causes it to miss. It's just more of like a what if the asteroid that killed the dinosaurs and caused their extinction missed. So we witness the asteroid missing, and then there's a big time jump all the way up to what for we would probably consider to be kind of Western-ish times, where the dinosaurs have now evolved to the point where they don't look like their ancestors did. They've changed a little bit, but they don't really change all that much because they are, like, in essence, reptiles, birds, and they haven't changed all that much throughout their entire history. So it makes sense the dinosaurs wouldn't have changed all that much. But what we do see is that they have developed all the way up to the point of agriculture and actually domesticating other animals. But what also happens within the good dinosaurs is we see that human beings have actually still managed to evolve. But now what they've done is they have evolved later on than in this universe than we would have in our universe, because the dinosaurs have had time to evolve all the way up to a certain point, which means humans are actually a little bit back on the evolutionary scale, with the human and the good dinosaur being what I would consider to be probably like Neanderthal, early Homo sapien level of intelligence. And we do see, however, that the humans are actually doing better than the dinosaurs are. So in the good dinosaur, you see the dinosaurs are inevitably going extinct. They're having crop shortages. We don't see the big herds of dinosaur that you would expect to see. You even see in the pet collector, who is a Styracosaurus, is actually scared because he's all by himself. So he's collecting these other animals to kind of like measure himself out and keep himself safe. And you actually have dinosaurs that have gone so far as to actually start stealing cattle or the buffalo, bison. I'm not sure exactly what they were in the movie, but they're actually trying to steal these from the T-Rexes, which are the raptor dinosaurs. They're trying to steal their food because they just don't have any. The pterosaurs are actually following this storm, which is going around. They're staying in the eye of the storm, and they're basically just picking off all of these animals that the storm is killing because the storm provides. But that actually gives us a clue as to what is taking out the dinosaurs. There is a climate shift that is happening within the good dinosaur. And the climate with these storms is probably what's taking out the dinosaurs. and probably causing droughts in other places. Rivers are probably drying up. The dinosaurs are not doing well. But what is doing well and what is very capable of surviving in this new world are the humans. And this is really where we see the shift with the humans versus the dinosaurs. Now, obviously, dinosaurs do inevitably go extinct to a point, and we'll get to that later. They still had an incredible run, but this was kind of the end of the animals. They never really make it back to the top on the scale of the world. Their time on top pretty much ends with the dinosaurs. But not all of them go extinct, because we do see later on in the timeline that Kevin from Up, which is essentially a extinct bird, has managed to survive. So some things probably continued on, but with the good dinosaur pushing back the evolution of everything on the planet, this means that animals are actually going to be able to be more intelligent throughout this entire universe than they would be otherwise, because they've had more time to evolve. But it did set the human clock back a little bit. And by that, really, I guess it means it pushed it further on into the future. So, like, for instance, as you guys see on the screen, like Incredibles takes place in 1950, but that's not wouldn't line up with the 1950 of our time. It was because it's going to be further along in the future. But inevitably, the dinosaurs do end up going extinct, and that leads us into the next show in this series, which is actually Brave. Now, there is a big jump here between dinosaurs, obviously, and medieval Scotland. In Brave, we get one more very important thing here, and that is the introduction of magic to the Pixar universe. So we see magic pretty much in the form of the witch and the will o' the wisp and the bears, but primarily Brave follows the story of Merida, someone who is trying to change her fate because she is a princess that does not want to be tied to a prince. She wants to do things her own way. She doesn't want to do things the traditional way, and that's causing a bit of a strife between her and her mom, who is very traditional. But she doesn't want what her mom wants for her. She does kind of accept it in the end, but her mom more accepts her and letting her choose her own path. But in the process of figuring this out, Merida meets the witch. Now, the witch can be two characters. Okay, she could just be a witch, or she could be Boo from Monsters Inc. And the theory goes here that Boo has figured out how to travel through time. And we can make this connection because the witch uses doors in her magic. And the only other time in the Pixar universe we see doors being extremely important is in Monsters Inc., where they are using doors to travel to the human world. Now, that could be its own form of magic, but the theory goes here that Boo has figured out how to go through doors looking for Sully, so she has discovered magic. So she's kind of created her own little loop back here, and I'll explain more about that whenever we get to Monsters Inc. But basically, Merida goes to the witch looking for a spell to change her fate. The witch has only cast this spell one other time, and that was with the brother. So, but the brother did not have the family that Merida had, so he ends up actually killing all of his brothers and dooming himself to life as a bear, aka Mordu. But Merida, through her love of her mother and her understanding her forgiveness, actually manages to break the spell and change her mother and her brothers back from the bears to their human forms. And following along with all that is she is being led to her path by the will o' the wisp, or spirits that are guiding her to her fate. And we know they're spirits because we see the brother Mordu turn into a wisp after he is ultimately defeated in the end, and his spirit is set free. But what this is this is the introduction of magic into the Pixar universe, and this should open the door for the next movie, which is canonically in the timeline, that being The Incredibles. Bringing magic into the Pixar universe from the future almost sort of makes sense, or having, since the world has changed enough at this point to where magic has come into existence on its own. But we do get other examples of magic further down in the Pixar timeline. So we'll be able to go over magic and how it sort of works in the Pixar universe more or less when we get to Onward. So please stay in tune for that, and that should be video number 3. But where we're sitting at right now is we have animals have hit their peak with the dinosaurs, but also extended their evolution and their intelligence, which can ultimately lead them into modern day. Now, they won't stay this intelligent forever. They'll definitely fall back into the scale. But through their connection to humans and to humans' magic, they will retain their abilities to push forwards. And the further away from humans they are, the more they tend to keep their intelligence within the Pixar universe. But bringing magic into the Pixar world is what opens up this entire possibility for this theory, and it's going to be fun to explore this and further in these next couple videos. But for right now, guys, that's where I'm leaving you off. We've had the creation of the universe, we've had the dinosaurs, and what's pushed this world into its own timeline and its own series of events. And we've brought magic in through Merida and the Will o' the Wisp and the Witch into the Pixar world. Or that's just the setup for what's coming next in this timeline. So please, in the comments down below, let me know if you guys have any questions. And please tune in next Tuesday where we're going to be going over modern day of the Pixar theory. And while you're down there in the comments, guys, please remember to hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, turn on that notification bell so you never miss another video from me. And I will see you guys in the next video.